Hey, what's going on everybody? It is time again for another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly, the show where we recap some of the really cool mod releases to come out during the week. And this week we have a whole bunch of weapon mods and one neat retro armor mod. We're going to go ahead and start with a classic pistol, and that's going to be the Colt M1911 Army Pistol by Broodahood. Now, Broodahood typically does translation mods, but this is their first time stepping into the ring and actually producing a full-on weapon. And we have yet another 1911 mod. Now, I know we have a lot out there already, and some people may say it's a bit redundant, but this just gives you more options as a user to pick out your favorite mod that fits the exact needs for you. Now, this version of the 1911 is really nice. It has very high quality model and textures, has great animations supplied by the HKUSP mod, and has some really cool customization options over at the weapons workbench, including a handful of different skins like chrome, gold, dark steel, and even a really worn and beat up version of the 1911 that fits very well in Fallout. And there's even some cool tactical sight options, as well as a whole bunch of suppressors, so you can pick the exact suppressor you want on your 1911. By default, this 1911 does not have leveledless integration. However, there is an optional file that you can download to add it, and it'll start spawning in the world after level 20. It also has support for tactical reload, so you will have to download another patch for that if you want tactical reload support, though it does not require it for this mod to function. Glad that the users have the option to choose whether or not they want that support. While this may just be another 1911, it does have a lot of the nice modern quality of life stuff that newer mods have, like the additional support for things like tactical reload and a bunch of really cool customization options. So if you're into that kind of thing, this is definitely one I'd recommend trying out. It is a very classic style of 1911, but has the option to add on newer parts if you're into that kind of thing. Regardless, this is some excellent work by Broodahood, and I really hope they continue to make even more weapon mods. Good work and definitely worth checking out. Now up next, we're actually checking out a pretty old mod, one from 2016, and I know that's not the norm around here in Mods Weekly, but this thing actually just got a translation, and it's the first time I ever saw this mod, so I figured I might as well cover it because I think it's really neat. And it's an armor mod known as The Long Fall by Hifoo. And what this is going to do is add in essentially the boots from Portal, which allow you to fall and take no damage. Now, that does seem a little bit cheesy and cheap, but I think they're really cool. Typically, to avoid fall damage in vanilla Fallout 4, you're going to need to have power armor or get the very well hidden pair of boots that are locked up in the mass fusion building. Either way, I think this is a really neat alternative that you can equip to your character. I know it's not the most lore-friendly thing in the world, being as it is from Portal, but I could definitely see these things being built by the Institute. They even have the right color scheme. And just having a new way to travel around the Commonwealth and not have to worry about fall damage is pretty neat. And these things can be slapped on top of your existing clothes and armor pieces. If you want to get your hands on these, they're actually found at the top of the Corvega assembly plant, up near where you would find the bobblehead. And then getting down is pretty easy because you can just slap these on and jump right off. I know this isn't the most immersive or lore-friendly mod in the world, but it is a whole lot of fun and adds a new way to travel around the Commonwealth by just jumping down from tall buildings and allowing you to parkour to your heart's content. This is a really cool mod, and I do just love Portal. I have a soft spot in my heart for that game, and so seeing some Portal mods in Fallout is pretty neat. Definitely recommend checking this one out if you don't want to have to go and hunt down the vanilla versions of these boots, and they have their own cool custom model. Up next, we have another weapon mod, and that is the XM8 Assault Rifle by Linguini. The XM8 is a weapon that I've seen a lot of people asking for in Fallout 4. The closest thing we had prior to this was the Scar LK mod, but now we have a proper XM8. And this thing is really cool. It comes complete with custom animations, a whole bunch of modifications at the weapon's workbench, and of course a bunch of skins that allow you to change the look of this weapon as well. Sadly, it does not have leveledless integration. Instead, you will have to craft it over at the chemistry station, but regardless, this weapon is still pretty neat. This one also has tactical reload support if you're into that kind of thing, and uses reload animations from the G36 that fit very nicely. This is a really great tactical complete package for the XM8. Definitely fits the more modern tactical load orders, but this weapon itself is a very interesting sci-fi looking weapon. Even though it was made in real life and never truly adopted by any military, it still fits somehow very well in the Fallout universe, along with weapons like the G11 or the Paincore Jackhammer. It's definitely a unicorn of a gun, and I think it's something that can fit very, very well in the Wasteland. So with that, I highly recommend checking this one out. If you're looking for a retro futuristic AR, I think this one fits very, very well for that bill. Up next, we have a classic melee weapon, that being the Capital Wasteland Supersledge by Zanthir. This is going to be the first of the Capital Wasteland releases since the roadmap has finished up, and this is going to add in the classic version of the Supersledge. What's really cool about this particular one is it includes a bunch of uniques, including Oh Baby, the Disruptor Sledge, and Fox's Supersledge. And what's really cool is there are two different versions of this mod. There is the standalone version, which will spawn alongside the vanilla Fallout 4 Supersledge. Then there is the replacer version, which will of course replace them. Now, even if you choose the replacer version, you're still going to get those 3 uniques, and what's really interesting is that it's actually going to replace the unique Supersledge in the game from Far Harbor, that being Adam's Judgment. And it's actually going to have its own custom model integrating the classic Supersledge style with the new parts from the Adam's Judgment, and it looks really, really cool. The classic version of the Capital Wasteland Supersledge is also going to have modifications at the weapons workbench, allowing you to add on stun packs or heated coils, so it does have attachments just like the vanilla one, but not nearly as many. Even still though, I do like seeing the classic version of the Supersledge, especially in the hands of super mutants. And again, if you download this thing in the standalone version, it will be added to the leveled list, so it will spawn pretty much anywhere the vanilla Supersledge would spawn. Or just go for the replacer. Personally, that's the one that I would pick. Regardless, if you like the classic Supersledge, highly recommend this one. It has a lot of neat features, and you gotta love those unique variants. And then finally, we have yet another weapon mod, because we just got a whole bunch of them this week, and that is the Vargo 52, otherwise known as the Vahan Assault Rifle by Cadavver. Now, this is a real-world 50s era weapon that just never quite made it into full production, but the look of this thing definitely fits in Fallout 4. I gotta say, I really love the design of this weapon. Honestly, the weapon looks beautiful by itself when you run it completely stock, but it also has a handful of attachments over at the weapons workbench, including a bunch of different stock options, sights, foregrip, suppressors, underbarrels, all kinds of really, really cool stuff. And it's added to the leveled list, and it starts spawning in the world after level 10, or alternatively you can craft it over at the chemistry station. It allows you to fire this thing in either 5.56 or 7.62, depending on what you choose over at the weapons workbench, and altogether just makes a really versatile assault rifle. For those of you who are wondering, this thing does have custom animations and makes use of Hitman's right-handed animations, and it looks very, very nice. That way you have a right-handed AK style reload, which fits very well since this thing does actually use AK mags. It's essentially a pipe with an AK mag sticking out of it, and I think it looks super neat. Definitely one that fits super well in the Fallout world, especially given its origin, though you can make it a bit more modern with some of the attachments over at the weapons workbench. Completely up to you as to which style you prefer, though of course you know me, I like the retro stuff. Either way, it's a fantastic assault rifle, and I can't wait to see more stuff by Cadavver. With that though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's pretty much going to wrap up all of the mods that I'm covering this week, and I hope you found one that you want to add to your load order. We have a nice variety of stuff this week, so hopefully you found at least something. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a rating. Consider subscribing if you haven't already for more videos just like this. Big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting every single video. If you're interested in the Patreon, it'll be linked down in the description below, though it is completely optional. Thank you guys so much for watching, and again, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace!